Alright, folks. Welcome back. It is day 5 with HanziHero. 欢迎大家回来。今天是第5天。Yeah, that awkward moment when you go upstairs and you ask your father if he knows what pickles are. Like the word pickles, and I'm like, I don't know how to say pickles in Chinese. in any language outside of English, like, what's pickles? I was gonna say something like sour cucumbers instead. Yeah, this is HanziHero turn. If you're familiar with Wanikani, then you're familiar. Oh wait, you haven't used Wanikani yet, right? So this is Anki. It's like a mnemonic based system on the Anki SRS. So if I had to summarize it very quickly, Wanikani is also. And when I mean Anki, I'm using Anki as a form of reference, but it's really an algorithm, right? It's really a coding, and more or less now in most cases an open source coding system, right? So this has that as well. Although with that said, I have to make some commentary. There's been some more development in the saga of this person. So I keep track of the community tab a lot, and I've been doing that with Wanikani as well. So like any developer tag forum. So in this case, HanziHero is relatively a smaller audience, right? And you are going to have commentary with Wanikani in mind. So yesterday I talked about this person who posted about their disagreements with having reviews have a timer on a daily basis. Meanwhile, Wanikani has it on a smaller time frame. Like I think it's every 4-hour interval. So there are a lot of fundamental differences that due to the nature of the language itself, and also the development fork in how they develop their mnemonics and stuff, and these represent different developers' philosophies, right? So this person made a generalization out of personal preference as a push for it being a constructive criticism, if not something they desire a functionality to be implemented. And that's the idea of being able to have more frequent reviews, because they find that the review frequency now is too light. Like daily review is insufficient. They want multiple reviews during a day. And the idea was that Wanikani did this, and they made this very telling generalization that since this is basically Wanikani, you might as well make it exactly like Wanikani, because they were very successful with learning using Wanikani as opposed to anything else, so they wanted to be that same thing, right? And then this is where someone else made a comment like, well, it's not quite the same, and there was a person who expressed the opposite, where at some point Wanikani has too high of a frequency in terms of review, and due to the nature of HanziHero, it's a better balance, right? So this shows the subjective nature of the comment. Now, the Kevin is a very studious and highly active dev, so he writes a lot to these responses. So he iterates and double down on his philosophy. So he explains the philosophy, why the SRS is situated this way at the time being, and there are many alternative ways to work around having focus groups, alternative solutions and problems that are in the feature set to address weak review sessions. So then this other person repeats and say, well, you kind of missed the point. I'm saying I want more reviews for a time. Please consider adding that feature. Now hear me out here. Yes, that is a thing the developer can do. Certainly they can implement it, and it won't happen overnight. So maybe Kevin could say, yes, we'll add this because you like that. Here's a history though. Even from my reading of HanziHero, that used to be the concern. Actually, that used to be a problem before they moved to an SRS system that is like Anki's basal SRS system, because the review was too stacking. It stacked too much quickly and strongly. And actually, Gecko and I, when we were talking about Wanikani, that kind of happens very rapidly. Like, even from my tenuous experience for like 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks right now, it stacks really, really quickly because it comes in batches. There's peak, and then the review stacks, and it's up to you to do the lesson stacks in a way that the review stacks get moderated, right? In this structure, you can see that my reviews do not stack. It rarely stacks. It started at 10 and now it's at 15, right? And the elements, we'll see what happens when it changes to level 2. But I think based on that guy's like criticism, the review stack does not stack up like rapidly. You can change the amount of lessons per se to possibly increase the review stack indirectly. You can also prioritize things and mark things for weaknesses for review. So that actually is a sufficiency level. So there are plenty of ways to work around this deficit that this person is talking about, and yet that person double downs and talk about their solution as the only solution to their problem. So that illustrates my point about restrictive learning. Someone who is so used to something that works that they cannot ultimately see workarounds or adapt to the situation. In my opinion, is it a criticism? It is a valid criticism. However, Kevin doesn't necessarily have to do anything about it because there are lots of tools that they added, which, why am I bringing up all the feature set? Because they Kevin also mentioned FSRS system, which is now a part of Anki, and I looked at the FSRS system, and that is kind of tweaking and having the functionality of being able to manipulate the SRS system through a UI, right? Through a GUI. Basically, you can click tab and functionally affect the SRS frequency on its own. And that's kind of where they're heading. And the idea is, Kevin admit that's probably where they're going. And this person was unable, in my opinion, they were so fixated on the idea that it has something to do with the reviews that they're not remembering these things. That it is the only way, it is the only solution that they have. And yet I can see 3 or 4 ways that Kevin has highlighted that would ultimately make up for that deficiency, right? I obviously have not encountered a problem with the mnemonics in the review, but the disclaimer here is I already know quite a lot of Chinese that they're covering, but they're not necessarily new to me. However, Churn, I don't know if you notice, but this is traditional Chinese course. They do have both traditional and simplified. And on HanziHero, I'm doing the traditional course. So we have already seen a lot of teasers and collective coordination between like, oh yeah, okay, this must be the traditional character for this, right? After I hear it, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is the traditional character for this. So it has already happened a couple of times. And anyways, so the saga continues. I'm not sure if this person, I think Kevin more than elaborated on alternatives, and it's honestly, I feel like I quite have a bit of empathy for Kevin, and I guess a sympathy for this person who finds that they can they must have it a certain way in order to solve their deficit, right? To me, that screams a level of lack of understanding of problem solving. Largely, do what works, and that's the only way it can work. So collectively, in my opinion, that individual does not understand the nature of their deficit and all the potential ways to offset the deficit, right? Kind of like if Duolingo doesn't provide grammar points, you basically never learn grammar points, because if the tool doesn't do it for you, then you can't possibly learn grammar points outside of it. Or swap up like a different way to view grammar points, or swap up a different way to do your SRS in order to remember this. Like, you could probably review here if you want it. You know, you could click on review at any time you want, but okay. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. There, and what's different about HanziHero when it comes to the development design philosophy is that HanziHero is new, it's rapidly being changed, and it's erring on the side of everything in the kitchen sink approach versus Wanikani, which is the we do it this way. It's been a many decades, trust us situation, because we have many years of experience. Versus, so Wanikani is a matured product, and HanziHero is doing the everything in the kitchen sink as much as they can. So they're free flowing, going with what works, very trendy, right? And I kind of like it. It is a great contrast between the two. Obviously, my Chinese learning experience is going to be different from my Japanese learning experience, and we're going to have different schedules for them. I think earlier on, Gecko asked about like considering or suggesting that I moderate my review sessions and my batch for Wanikani, and my only thought was, no, they're just going to be different. It's perfectly fine. Like, I don't have to learn language the same way throughout my session. It'd be kind of dull if you think about it. My Duolingo, like my Japanese and Chinese, diverged really substantially from beginning to end because their courses were different. Despite what other people say that Duolingo cookie cuts everything, it was noticeably different between Chinese and Japanese, so we had to adjust the way. Now, what I learned from the Chinese course inevitably was adapted to the Japanese learning, and then vice versa. And I'll probably end up doing the same thing here. If I gather anything that was interesting, I could adapt it to Wanikani and vice versa, right? That's pretty much what this experience has been like. All right, so let's get into our lessons. These are usually shorter. Our HanziHero sessions are shorter, largely due to the nature of how they produce their SRS. Now, I have the option of quadrupling the items if I want it, but we're gonna stick to the regular. We're gonna trust the regular, right? So let's get into our lessons here. Buddha. Okay. Fair enough. Buddha. Buddha. Wait. Can I hear that again? Okay. So here's one thing that we have to get used to, right? Now that we have we have to remember our Sanhi rules, right? Yeah, so this is Buddha. Because this is 4-4. So 4-4 is 2-4, right? So they made I read through most of their like documentation, and they're doing the traditional, or not really the traditional, but the more adopted what do we call it, like writing of tones on the pinyin system. So that says 不大, but it's 不大. You are responsible for knowing the sanhi rules, tone rules, and it will always write the point of reference, the stand-in tone. So it's always going to be written as 不, but you need to know your rules. And usually during a 4/4, that's the rule in which for 不, it would be 2. So 不大, not 不大, right? So that's, and you can use your ear training for that, because the difference is the generated tone will still reflect its tone rules, and the transcript, though, when they're scripting it, will always represent the actual reference. The reason behind this is largely due to the nature that there are a lot of tone shifts. So to standardize it, you take the original tone, which is unchanging, so you know what your point of reference is, and then you change it according to the rules. As opposed to if it changed, you're not sure as a learning process. Like when you're learning, you're not sure what the original tone was, so you don't know if there was a change to begin with, right? It's much more difficult to track without a standardization versus a standardization, like one that stays consistent. So that's the explainer, or at least that's what I gather as the major motivation for keeping pinyin tones transcribed as their original tones and not the tone change. I mean, one could always argue, hey, you can implement a different system to include tone changes, and that's fair too. You can go and make that system a reality if you want, you know, for those who like to do the things they want to do, which reflects my early story today, where this person refuses to understand that there are so many things that Kevin said that would be able to fill the deficiency, but they choose to only approach it in one way, right? And that would be an example here for those who find this inconvenient and wish there was a system. You can make it, right? That's always an avenue. So, 不大. Something that is not big is considered not very large. Oh, I see. So that's why they went with not very. Interesting. And I know why they went with not very and then use the alternative as not big. I totally understand where they're going with this. Actually, I quite like this. Taking into account this is not very, as opposed to I mean, there is also Butai. Or is it Butai? Oh, it's Butai. We'll see where they go for. Fine.
不大，不大。
And it still looks like also a little different from Wanikani, obviously. I think these are generated voices, as opposed to, I'm kind of curious if they ever considered them pronouncing it. That'd be kind of an interesting touch. Here are some examples, uses of words. See if you spot the word. Oh yeah, yesterday we got our first 2 words, so they have context or like little sentences, which are fun to read. Because I have no idea what that is. Let's see. 他的稿不大 something 话
他的狗不大听话。
听话 Oh, that's 听话 Wow. Dang. 今天不大 不大冷
今天不大冷。
不大冷。我不大累。
我不大累。
Lay is the same. Yes, lay is the same. Jeez, that's Ting? Man. Jeez. Yikes. I haven't decided if I'm gonna write these or not. I still haven't decided. Okay, so what do we have? So, oh, and we have to write the original tones. So, Boo, right, is Bugs Bunny in the bathroom of the house, right? Bugs Bunny in the bathroom of the house. And Da is Dracula in the bathroom of the auditorium, right? Oh, yes, yeah.
不大
So we had to write the original notation, not the adjusted one, right? So it's not how it sounds, but how it's written. And this is the first case it's happened. There were a couple people who made comments about this, and it's explained in the literature. Not that people read literature these days, right? Show of hands who skip tutorials, right? And explicit information. Not very.
大人
Okay. 大人. Okay. 大人 makes sense. We're good. Adult. Yeah, true, along with others, but okay. 大人. A big person. Okay, we're fine. Fine. All right. 孩子 oh. 小孩要听大人的话。Okay.
小孩要听大人的话。
小孩要听大人的话。is already 他记 what the heck is, which one is that? Already. What could that be? I'm supposed to know this character, but since I don't see the actual character right away, I don't know which one it is anymore. 是大人了。
他已经是大人了。
Oh no, I got the wrong one. That's why. I was thinking of G, not Jing. Oh yeah.
他已经是大人了。
I was thinking of E, not G. I mean, I was thinking of G, not E. Wrong character. So, 已经, what did 已经 look like? Oh man, I need side by side comparisons. 已经 Holy heck. Oh. Okay, so the top got simplified. 他已经是大人了。Okay, he's already an adult. 大人的something也不 this is 容易 I don't remember what this is.
大人的生活并不容易。
Bing. Oh, that's Bing 不 Oh, that's Bing.
大人的生活并不容易。
我大人的生活并 Oh, interesting. 并不容易。
大人的生活并不容易。
To be honest, I can guess traditional Chinese is just that some words are just different from simplified, so I don't know what it is. Yeah. But it's fun, isn't it? I think it's really fun. This is my best opportunity to dabble in it. But Jackie helped me learn some of that situation. Yeah. So I'm hoping I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna put a simplified on the back seat, but it's pretty cool. And I like you know what I like about this generator? They pause where I think they would pause.
大人的生活并不容易。
Yeah. 大人的生活并不容易。
大人的生活并不容易。
Yeah, I kind of like the pacing, the spacing. The thing about Duolingo is, all the syllables are like really slammed together a lot of times, so it really feels like the person is like pacing too quickly. But I really like this one. This one's good. They have, I've heard 2 different voices already. I don't know how they're generating their voices. It is being generated somehow, but I'm kind of curious where they're getting their stuff. By the way, Churn, this group is by 2 people. It's a helmed business model, and everything's run by 2 people. They are brothers. Both of them are from Tampa, Florida. Kevin, the person who's writing most of the content and stuff, he's the primary language learned person, so the literate person. And they moved to Taiwan. Oh, it's that character. Oh, really? So I'm hearing... Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, dang. Huh. Okay. Neat. I was thinking of it, when I say it, yeah, or yeah, or yeah, I was thinking of an entirely different character. I can kind of see I'm gonna get, there's gonna be a little bit of a confusion here, which will be kind of fun to talk about. Anyways, all right. So Kevin lives in Taiwan. I don't know for how long, but Kevin is already literate and speaking, right? And then Phil is his brother, who is either learning or now competent as well. They both actually use the product that they make as well, so there's that. And they have already been familiar with all the other types of language apps, that's like similar language apps, so that's where they came to this inspiration. And also, by the way, you can use this one for free too, or up to like 100 characters or something. It's about I would say about where Wanikani cuts you off as well, so you can always like mess around. Early on, you can kind of see it's the same. There's limitations of trying to teach initials and finals, which makes sense because the sounds can only get so short and so limited, right? So past that though, you really get used to building there. The way they build mnemonics is very different from Wanikani, and I really like it. Largely because it's different, right? It's getting me to learn languages. Both of these are getting me to learn languages substantially different from Duo. Although I have to admit, Wanikani, the whole SRS system, that is something I'm far more familiar with. Duolingo was more of a challenge when it came to, and in a good way, in my opinion, to challenge me to get that curriculum and how to go about it. This one is very comfortable, and it challenges me in a different way. Like they took time and effort to create the mnemonics, and that's where I spend most of my time having enjoyment and engagement. Obviously, the SRS system, you can go on Anki, download the deck, and not worry about that kind of thing. Anyways, so we have so Dracula in the auditorium's bathroom. Ren is Robin Hood in the infirmary. Yeah, Robin Hood in the infirmary. Ren.
大人
大人. So okay.
用
Yong. Okay, so this is the character. All right. And their color coding is pretty much the same. They tried to keep the color coding consistent. It is kind of a nice touch. Yeah, it's largely consistent, so it's kind of a nice touch that they decided to do that. So you don't have to learn a new coloring system. So like this is the character. So this is Hanzi. This is the Hanzi. Purple is the vocabulary, and shades of blues are the components. And they have 2 shades of blue because there's the pinyin. They wanted to create a reductive pinyin system using the Maryland method, and this is the component, which is equivalent to the radical. Components make up the characters, the Hanzi. They use different terms, but that's semantics. Obviously, you kind of get used to it. So, for example, Yong is Yoshi. Yoshi. Oh, and then we got a new term, temple. We're just gonna the new pinyin for temple. So then Yoshi is in the bathroom of the temple, in the temple's bathroom, because tone 4 is bathroom, and that's what I was using. Why I was saying those things in my head, because it's kind of fun. You can make stories and encourage, like if I were to try to get someone to learn or find a different interactive way to build stories and write in their notes, that this is a really cool way to go about it, where you do a constructional way. So they went out of their way to make pinyin also part of the mnemonic, and I quite like that they're attempting to do that. It can be very difficult because you need to create a foundation, like a Lego block, that works with all the characters. So their goal right now is to cover 4,000 characters or something by the end of this year. They are already past the 3,000 mark, covering most of the HSK requirements. I think they might have either exceeded it or matched the HSK requirement. If you see over here, they were doing that for both simplified and, well, actually, I guess it's largely only traditional, but for both. That's their idea, anyways. Neat. The sound effects. That's the only sound effect, but it's like, ugh. Something that I do miss, or feel like it's missed potential on both Hanzi and Wanikani, is sound effects, sound cues. Sometimes sound cues can be a great way to reinforce what type of errors people are making. So Duolingo has just a right and a wrong sound cue. However, you'd be surprised how powerful sound cues is if you can segregate the sound cues based on the type of error you make. Right? Of course, Wanikani and HanziHero does not take more than specific inputs, but even those specific inputs can be divided into sound cues. So for example, if you made a reading mistake, like a readout mistake, like for pinyin and or kana, it would make a different sound cue, and if you get it right, you could also ascribe it to a different sound cue. So not only do you need to you can use the color code, you can also use your ears, right? And if they match up, it can be very powerful. I mean, Duolingo is getting away with a lot of things just having a wrong and a right sound cue, but that's one area that I feel is slightly deficient. Not only that, you could even make the sound cues a language response. Like when you get it wrong, 错，你错了, right? 这写 写错了, right? Or 对, like constantly like reinforce other ways of getting feedback. You can use sound cues for them once you learn them. Like when you acquire them, like it could be added, like, what do you think it's wrong here? It's like you have written something wrong, so the sound cues can become more and more elaborate, and then you can choose to turn off and on those sound cues. So that can be a way to integrate using sound cues and read and dialogue for on top of learning your material. But then it can become a little bit more conversational, but not really. It's like a response, hear and response kind of thing, right? So I think in most cases, it's for most people, the reason why they didn't contribute to this is because it's probably gonna get turned off by a lot of people, which it's diminished return. As in, like, if you invest resources into doing that, I do often feel, this is only my personal request, it does not reflect other people, because generally they use downtime and uptime, not integrated. But for me, I would be incredibly impressed if they design it in a way where you use sound cues to make it look and introduce a vocabulary that you have already encountered into the process. Like, for example, when I think of, I don't know, da, they would say like, oh, 这是一只大 大糕, right? 大 or 一只大的糕, or something like that, where what happens is, as you're learning, they're changing their sound cues where there's a follow-up to the learning, right? And this is beyond the scope of SRS. However, I could see it done in the sense of Duolingo. I think SRS has a limitation where, because if you do Anki and Dex, the idea is to focus on efficiency. Like, you're only learning these words. However, in something interactive, it can often be, the sound cue can be quickly skipped or listened to. So oftentimes in like video games, when you click on a response, like, I like that. 为什么你喜欢这个字, right? Like, what happens is you're going to then associate the follow-ups to your responses. So 是这是不错, right? Kind of like things like that. When you're connecting, then you're connecting the things too. So it's to kind of simulate hearing a proper response when you're giving an answer or anything like that. Like, you can even contextualize it. You read a sentence about the sentence, right? Like a sentence. You read a sentence about a dog, right? And then after you enter the answer, you like translated it, they add a second sentence. They speak out a second sentence to give it, like, oh, and then the dog went on its way. Like, oh, there's a big dog. And then you type, there's a big dog, right? Right, there's a big dog. And then it's like, and that dog is barking at you. In another, like, to follow up, but it requires no input from you. You either listen to it or you skip it. So the idea is, you already have this generated voice, right? And you're adding more to it, and you're finding it's using sound cues to link ideas after it. It requires no additional effort, like input from the other person. So then they get used to follow-ups and flanking responses. That would be the next level, in my opinion, of these automated systems, like using LLMs and whatnot. So the idea is you're incorporating static versions of LLMs. The down part of all of this is it can become repetitive. So when it becomes repetitive, if sound cues, if like reading something the same thing over and over again is already repetitive, if you hear the same thing over and over again, then it becomes even more repetitive. Well, you might be expecting, well, that doesn't make sense. That's more things to respond to. No, the answer, in my opinion, is the person will likely think they remember it better because they do. They end up remembering it better because there's sound cues as well. And the problem with that is then you will have to restructure your entire course in order to meet the pace of the average person. Because unfortunately, when people think they know something and they remember something, it becomes less interesting. So that's kind of why people skip cutscenes all the time in video games. And then when they know what's going to happen, they would skip the cutscene, right? They don't look for what's interesting in that anymore because they already know what's going to happen or know what it sounds like. So that's the bane, in my opinion, of SRS. It can be too repetitive, meaning the person already knows or they think they already know the material. And if you make it more efficient, you would have to change the pacing entirely of your things. But to me, I would be incredibly impressed if, in my opinion, the SRS systems that people use also somehow creates a platform to normalize adding audio cues to their thing, like adjusting for the integration of audio cues. Then you're a small step from playing a video game or a small step from talking to an LLM. Obviously, you could choose to just go talk to ChatGPT in this case, which Duolingo is more or less doing that, right? Duolingo Max for the prototypic language, which is Spanish in their case, they're doing that. We'll see if Wanikani, if that type of horsepower and server power is approachable and diminished to a point where even smaller developers can host LLM models. I doubt it. It is really expensive. Like just looking at the costs of management and then the upfront investment costs, you got to leave it up to like something like Duolingo to host local servers or like their own dedicated service to hosting the LLMs that they can procure. But it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. I haven't seen anything yet, so I'm doing most of the talking, right? I'm responsible for most of the talking. Anyways, can I hear that again? Okay. The sound in pinging has no English equivalent. That is one thing that I don't really like about Kevin's form of writing. No English equivalent or never or don't. It's not like people cannot produce the sound, but saying no is like suggesting that only one English accent is the predominant way. But I kind of get it. American, Southeast, Florida. It is similar to making the sound in the English word, like sung, yeah, but with an o sound at the beginning, yeah, right. It's fine. This is my most contentious point where this Kevin insists on saying like no equivalent to English, no equivalent to English. I don't necessarily think this is true. Having considered accents, but for the vast majority, this generalization is acceptable, I suppose. Not that it's worth mentioning or like arguably contentiously mentioning it anyways, and then proceed to find something that's similar, right? The ong sound in pinyin is similar to the sound, a deep sounding gong would make. Gongs are found in temples, so we choose a East Asian Buddhist temple to represent this final. All throughout the temple are monks and disciples. The front of the temple has rock gardens and a small set of stairs that lead up to the slightly elevated temple building. Fair enough. Inside the temple is gongs, incense, an altar, and other things you would find in an East Asian temple, all sitting on a wooden floor. Okay. The basement of the temple contains a bunch of old temple relics and has a rock floor. The bathroom has a small hot spring in it, along with a fairly old toilet and sink. Fairly old, huh? Okay. So here are some examples. Zhong, gong, gong, hong, kong, shong, as in like shong di. Okay, confirmation. So, this is a final, right? Final.
嗡
A rack. Did I get a rack yet in Hanzi? I don't think I got a rack in Wanikani yet. No. The component depicts a rack of shelves that one can put things on. Towards the bottom are the feet, while the middle line represents the individual shelves. Fair enough. Rack. Examples. This Jung. No, Bei. Oh. Dai. Hung. No, that's so fine. Jiang. Oh. Like, Jiangjing. Okay. Alright. I got your rack right here, buddy.
用
Okay. Yong. Use this rack. Yep. Oh, they gave 2 Yongs. Okay. Oh no, they didn't give 2 Yongs. Just kidding. I'm kidding. So Yoshi in the bathroom of the temple, huh? What do we got for Yoshi? Yoshi is in the bathroom of the temple where he utilizes a rack next to the hot spring to hold his stuff, except he doesn't wear clothes or really ever keep anything on him. So he just puts a green spotted egg on it to utilize it before going into the hot spring. Okay. Alright, wow. Look at these alternatives. You gotta love the no tents, right? Chinese no tents. So it also means utilize, utilizing, utilize. This is to use, to utilize. Oh, they even included the alternative spelling with S to utilize. To utilize. That's a little that's funny. They added the alternative spelling as well without the Z. Okay. So basement, bathroom. So temple bathroom. They were in an onsen, right? The onsen utilize a rack, but no clothing. Got it. Here's some vocabulary words. Too delicate. 佣人. Interesting. 不用. Yeah, 不用. 游泳. 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 Reserve. 丁 Bay. Oh. 备用. Try out. 实用. No, 适用. Okay. 适用. I was guessing at the tone. I didn't know what the tone was. So Yoshi in the bathroom of the temple. Temple.
用
I just said temple. Temple comes from, I don't know if this is true about other Chinese from other places, but temple, saying like pole instead of temple, right? Bull, is a very like thing that I find myself doing that my parents do all the time too. When you're shifting from like Chinese or like sounds with Chinese and stuff, and then you suddenly start saying something like able, um, anything with the le like angel, right? Angle, it ends up like a little bit muffled, and I just did that right here, which is kind of funny. Temple, right? Temple, temple becomes temple. Oh, no all sounds, no all sounds like this. All sounds. Same difference, you know. If I were gonna say there are no English equivalent, but there's no, you know, this English as well, the other way around, I guess. I guess they utilize to utilize. Oh yeah, I gotta remember to write to. Not that that matters too much in Chinese. This is probably why I get marked off. I get yelled at in Wanikani because when I think of Wanikani, when I see a dictionary, like a do, right? Like skuru, for example. Skuru, I think of use. I don't think of to use. But Wanikani, because of Japanese, it's specifically to use because they can differentiate between the two. But in this case, you don't get marked off for this, even because technically you can use either for Chinese since there's no conjugation, quote unquote, verb conjugation. And that has been a problem. I think that has been like a little idiosyncrasy for me when I was learning English too. Like the difference between to use something versus using something, or using, to use, conjugation. And then I just learned Spanish and then started having an appreciation. Nah, it wasn't only Spanish, but still. Spanish was one of the earlier times hitting that conjugation. A component name, we use rack instead of shelves. Yong.
用
Character meaning. Was this a pass? Oh no. No, it's not a pass. Temple. The heck? What was temple? What am I taking from temple? Oh. Because of the gong. Ooh. Buddha. Skuru. Skuru is to make. Gao is to use. Yeah. I know. I wasn't trying to translate Yong. I was using skuru just to say an example. So I'm guessing you clarified because I was looking at 用 to utilize, but I didn't use 使う instead for use. But yeah, that's a little pedantic, but I gotcha. Between you and me, I gotcha. Why you made that comment?
不大
I wasn't looking for a synonym there. Pedantic. Let's see. 不大. Not very. Let's see. So we do Dracula, auditorium, bathroom, 人, Robin Hood, inside infirmary. 大人
大人
Oh, no, we're just looking for. What was the mnemonic word? What did they do for this? Oh, just big people. Yeah, it just translates on its own. Okay. All right. Next one. Next one. Okay. 日. So 日 Thor, bathroom, Robin Hood, bathroom. I think Robin Hood is R only, so E. What though it's the E final? Oh no, it has no final, right? Because it's already cut off with E. So we use house. So Robin Hood is in the bathroom, in the house's bathroom. With sun. Okay, this is a component, so it's the sun, right? Spherical, but it's a square because of, yes. The line in the middle represents, yeah, the more or less the represents a large dark spot in the middle. I was more thinking it represents the horizon, but or the cartel of a plane flying by, or a contrail of the plane flying by. Huh. A little mix up of what the line in the middle is. Fair enough. Here are some examples. Okay. 日明 crystal. 金 Chang. Oh yeah. Chang and Chang. Okay, so what is Robin Hood doing in the bathroom of the house with the sun for his day? Robin Hood is camping in the bathroom of the house, shooting arrows at the sun through the open window, which of course never reach. He wants to steal the sun from the sun and let night owls have their reign, perhaps. Wow. Alright. I can get behind that. That's feverishly outrageous. I can get behind that. Shooting arrows at the sun. Easy clap. Okay, 日子 日子 Interesting. 日子 日日 Oh man, 日日 昨日昨日昨日昨日 生日 and 热情 日行 日期 oh 日期 oh my gosh, what do I had a different word for date, something with 会 Was it with Hui? Yeah. Oh, Ye Hui. Ye Hui. Or Hui. Ye Hui. As opposed to 热气. Interesting. 热气. All right. So Robin Hood in the house's bathrooms shooting at the sun, right? 日
日
日 Oh, that's a okay. Fine. 日 Are we going with sun? We're going with sun. Oh no, we're going with day.
文
This is red. When okay. Literature. Oh, interesting. How did so we had what was this for? A stand? Not a stand, for writing earlier. For our radical in Japanese. Okay, when so we have giant. We don't have giant yet. That's a giant? Oh, I can kind of see it. That is a giant, all right. Walter White from Breaking Bad is our new protagonist, our new initial. Walter White. Walter White in the infirmary, or inside the infirmary. Dang. Walter White has joined the gang with Patrick Star, Legolas, and the gang.
乌
Walter White. Ooh, initial is quite unique. When not paired with any final, it is pronounced similar to U. Yeah. And the word tu. When paired with a final, the wu, yeah. Fair enough. Yep. The name Walter White also begins with W, with the letter W. So we choose him to represent his initial. Walter White is the protagonist of the American crime drama television series Breaking Bad, a high school chemistry teacher who begins cooking crystal meth to meet ends meet. Okay. Examples. Wu, 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 wei, wan, wan. Oh, which one is this? Hmm. A pill. Stomach. Hmm. Okay. I'll learn the characters as we go. So
乌
Woo. Woo. This component depicts a giant that stands tall. He is extremely wide. That's why his head is so small. Right? Exactly. I saw you. I got you. I got you. Mosquito. What the heck is mosquito? When? Interesting. Erudite. What the... Learning English words on the fly. I haven't used this in a long time. Uh, uh, I don't know how to pronounce it actually. I think it's erudite.
Erudite.
Erudite. Oh my gosh. It's a little bit more airier, but dang. That's a word. countenance. What the? Oh my gosh. Okay, I can get behind product though. Those are some English words, all right. What are we looking for this? Giant component.
文
Okay, so somehow Walter White is in the infirmary reading a book about James and the about giants. Walter White is inside the sick hall of the infirmary where he is sick. In the next bed next to him is a giant with a stack of literature. Okay. He wears glasses and carefully reads Shakespeare. Okay, so okay. Who knew the giant was such a connoisseur? Walter, with nothing else to do, borrows some literature from him. Okay. That's kind of cute. I like it. 中文、英文、向下文 Interesting. 向下文 A clause. 陶文 And then 汉语 Oh, 汉文 Oh yeah, 汉文 Whoops. That's when. I immediately think 汉语 Okay. So Walter White inside the infirmary, right?
文
Okay. Quiz time. The sun. Walter White.
文
The kanji. I mean the Hanzi. Walter W initial.
不
Giant. Who do we have? Robin Hood. Robin Hood inside the house's bathroom.
日
And then we have something different for this? Yes, we did. Hey. All right. We got our lessons done. Now let's do the review. Okay. R is the components. Charlie is CH initial.
吃
人人
人人
everybody. Sandals. Patrick is P initial.
坡
Cool. This is Patrick Star. Patrick Star inside the English manor, right? Peng.
藤
Companion. Yoshi. No. Yes. Wait. How do we get this one? Yoshi is in the basement of the electricity plant? No. Yoshi is on... Yeah, Yoshi is in the basement of the electric power plant? That doesn't... What was Yoshi doing down there? Oh, that's right. Yoshi was in the basement of the electric power plant that got flooded and found out that there were alligators down there. But the alligators paid him no mind because he is also an alligator. And where does the alligator come from? It's because of the component alligator. Dang.
Yeah.
Dang. One by one. Right. E.
E.
Inside the main room is 2. Wait. Yes, it's 2. Component name, not. Your correct answer has a typo. Oh, it's no. I keep saying not, but they want no sign. Okay, I need to remember that no sign. It works with one of the mnemonics. Okay, so this is our Bugs Bunny in the bathroom. In the bathroom of the house? What was Bugs Bunny in the bathroom of the house doing? Taking a bath and putting up a no sign so that there will be no more danger.
Ooh.
Wait, then what was this used for? Is this not? Oh, okay. So no, I need to type no for both of them. Okay. Okay. And this is alligator. This was Xena. Xena inside the English manor. No. Yes, inside the English manor making okay sandals. Xing.
行
Starting to sound like a crazy person at this rate. Okay. Okay, sandals. So we have Charlie Brown is in front of the electric power plant trying to charge his electric car. That's where the car comes in.
车
Xena is X initial. Oh, they did 2. Yeah, XCC. Okay, that's fine.
西
Fine. And it's only +1 day when you get something wrong. That's I see how it's going. All right. +1 day for that. Okay. Ooh, we have some green in our chart now. Okay, yeah, it's starting to slowly stack. Okay. So there you go. Now let's review our new stuff. Okay. All right. So we have wait, oh man, I didn't get that right. So Xena, right? Xena's getting pushed. Temple. We'll put Gong. in parentheses. Now we have Walter White. Rack. Sun. And giant. We have 用 when 日 日 sorry, trying to extend. Yeah. 不大 not very 大人 adult. Okay. Do we have anything that how did I screw this up? Wait, what is this part? WC T4. I don't remember. Hold up. Oh, 行 Sing is not on here, is it? Okay, so 行 it's this, right? English manner. In, right? Inside. Goes with okay. Sing. Okay. So then on so Yoshi bathroom. Oh, 用 didn't know how to use the rack. Didn't know how to use the rack. Spotted egg. Then we have pool. English manner. Oh, that's not inside, that's outside. Whoops. Wait. So inside manner. Right? Walter White inside the no. It's the not that. It's the infirmary. So Walter White in the infirmary. Inside the infirmary. Infirmary next to a giant who's reading literature, in which he joins the literature. Then we have the heck does that? What am I missing on the? Is it Robin Hood? Oh, Robin Hood. Oh yeah, Robin Hood is inside, or is bathroom house. The house's bathroom. Shooting arrows at the sun. Hoping to collect on the arrow on the sun. That one's a wild one. Yeah, and those are fine. We'll elaborate on the words in the future. Because basically you partition the components and then you combine their meanings together as well. So you take the meanings of the characters and combine them into this. So that's fine. Yeah, and that's about the experience so far for HanziHero. Again, takes about an hour, right? So, other than learning Chinese and then someone making a comment, yeah, that is the. Oh, there's one here. The forecast is a little weird still, so not entirely sure how this forecast works at the moment. Having reviews, but you can kind of see the reason why there's like overflow and zero and whatnot. It's largely because it's a combination of these things only have 2 pips. So you're forecasting something down here. You're forecasting that if you complete these, you no longer have reviews of those. They don't come up as often. So there's no like stacking on top of each other, like because of that. And then whenever you're introduced to something, it's 24 hours before it's introduced again. So then you have like different clippings because my days are different. I complete the reviews on slightly different hours. They're gonna see that, but not quite enough to figure out this is gonna be used for or not. All right, so what does that leave us? I can't go too late today, so I'll put in like 2.5 hours. All right, so we're gonna switch gears one last time. Today's every other day. Today is a Duolingo Chinese day. So anyways, let's wrap it up here. This is the end of our HanziHero section, right? Still working up, steady state, right? I've gotten very used to all the locations. The pinyin mechanics are being built up at this point, right? So, we got our first Sanghi rule, the Bu rule, triggered, not necessarily explained. So there's no explainer for the Sanghi rules, which that was a thing that was brought up. Like maybe somewhere it was the rules themselves weren't explained. However, it was already mentioned that how the pinyin works with the generated sound. I think with larger sentences and stuff, whatever they're using for generating the larger sentences and stuff sound great. And then everything else, there's too much restriction. Obviously, it's difficult to only voice the initial and the end and the initial finals and then the tone representation. All right, that's a wrap, folks. Thanks for hanging out. If you're gonna watch this later, 谢谢. Right. So until next time, 下次见. Yeah. I'm gonna get up, stretch a little bit, do a few jumping jacks, get my energy level a bit, and I'll be back for our last thing, our Duolingo exercise, or practice, really, at this point. Thank you.